My presentation is on South Korea. This is the historical development of the state. Ancient kingdoms, the Korean Peninsula, formed in the 1st century BCE to the 10th century CE, was split into 3 kingdoms, the Goryeo, the Baekje, and Stilla. The Stilla controlled the peninsula into the 7th century. The Goryeo dynasty from 918 to 1392, and that's also how Korea got its name. The Joseon dynasty occurred from 1392 to 1897. This is where the development of a lot of the culture and science and social hierarchy was formed in South Korea. Japan's occupation between 1910 to 1945, Japan ruled over Korea with colonial rule. They exploited resources and they suppressed a lot of Korean culture. Division in Korean War. After Japan's defeat in World War II, they divided the peninsula into a North and South Korea. In current day, North Korea has become an isolated and militarized dictatorship, while South Korea has turned into a high-tech and democratic country. Political regime. They're a democratic republic. Their system of governance is a democratic republic. There's a president as a head of the state, who also acts as head of the government. They're elected by citizens by direct popular vote for a single term of 5 years. Separation of powers. South Korea has a strong separation of powers with executive, legislative, and judicial branches. The National Assembly of Korea is unicameral, so therefore lawmakers have responsibility for making any laws for the country. They have a multi-party system. It's a large and competitive system. It's usually dominated by their 2 major parties, which is just the Democrat and their People's Power Party. They have judicial independence. The judiciary, including the Constitutional Court, acts independently of the government. They have a legacy of authoritarianism. South Korea has made a transition to, transition from being a military regime and an authoritarian state multiple times from the 60s and 80s to a democratic state, which has led to a civil society that's strong and politically active. Political conflict and competition. 2-party rivalry and division. South Korea has a 2-party system, the Democratic Party, which is liberal, and the People Power Party, which is conservative. They generally disagree on economic policy, North Korea, and other foreign relations. These parties have led to there being extremely polarized public opinion, notably along generational and regional divisions, which leads to intense political debates and frequent protests. North Korea also shapes their political debate. Handling relations with North Korea is a major disagreement between the liberals and conservatives. Liberals often are in support for engagement and dialogue, while conservatives want a tougher and more security-focused approach. Corruption and public pressure. Ongoing scandals like the impeachment of President Park Geun-hye has caused protests and demands for reform. Young voters and civic groups are increasing and pushing for transparency and change. Society, education and pressure culture. Education is a huge part of South Korean life. Students often attend school all day and then go to private academies at night. College entrance exams can define a student's future, which can create a very high-pressure environment, and that's led to a lot of concerns with students' well-being and mental health. Tradition and modernity. While South Korea is a global leader when it comes to technology and pop culture, traditional values still play a big role in their daily life. The respect for elders, family roles, and social hierarchy shapes how people interact, even in modern workplaces and homes. The changing of social norms. Many people in younger generations are pushing for a change on issues like gender inequality, LGBTQ rights, and work-life balance. Many young people are upset with economic inequality and social expectations that's led to greater activism, and more conversations about societal reform. The political economy, post-war growth. After the Korean War, South Korea went from being a poor country to being a global economic powerhouse due to government-led industrialization and export-driven policies. Big business. A lot of large family-owned business conglomerates like Samsung and Hyundai are big for their economy. While they do drive growth, they've also been criticized for monopolistic practices. They have a strong export economy.
6 minutes.
Their economy relies heavily from exports, especially in technology, automobiles, and shipbuilding. Government intervention. The South Korean government supports industries with policies, subsidies, and research investments, especially in tech and green energy, to stay competitive in the global market. And then inequality and labor tension. South Korea still faces income inequality and job insecurity. Labor unions are frequently pushing for better wages and working conditions, which causes tension between workers, companies, and the government. Foreign relations with the world. South Korea is a key U.S. ally in East Asia, especially for military and economic cooperation. Both countries keep a strong defense alliance with U.S. troops stationed in South Korea. They regularly hold joint military exercises to deter threats, especially from North Korea. They have strategic competition with China. South Korea's the largest trading partner. However, political tensions often rise, especially over the U.S.-China rivalry, security issues, and the U.S. missile defense system. South Korea tries to balance economic interests with China while maintaining its alliance with the U.S. Active global diplomacy. South Korea on the global stage promotes peace, climate action, and technology cooperation. It's involved in organizations like the United Nations and G20, and they seek to expand influence in Southeast Asia, Europe, and beyond. Current issues, youth unemployment and job security. A lot of younger South Koreans are having a hard time finding stable jobs, even with college degrees. The job market is very competitive, with jobs wanting longer working hours with lower starting pay, which has led to the frustration and a growing sense of economic anxiety for the younger generation. Rising house costs. Housing, especially in major cities like Seoul, has become very expensive. For many people in their 20s and 30s, owning a home feels impossible, which has sparked public debate and criticism of the government handling that issue. Gender inequality and social movements. Although South Korea is modern and developed, gender inequality is still a major issue. Women face a noticeable pay gap and underrepresentation in leadership roles. In recent years, there has been an increase in feminist movements and call for stronger protections against harassment and discrimination. These are my citations.